transition or something. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rodrigo. It is great to see everybody here today. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You got, all right. Welcome to this forum. We're glad you're here. We'd love to open in a prayer, and then I'll let the senior warden introduce the chairs and say whatever else needs to be said. Sound good?
Okay.
All right. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious God, we give thanks for each day. We know that you are present with us, guiding our feet along the path. Give us wisdom, give us courage, give us patience as we live into this process and begin and continue on this journey. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Abby, and thank everybody for being here, and particularly those on Zoom in Netherlands. None of us really anticipated being here, but we are. So we're gonna do our best to get the right person in place to lead our church as our new rector. When I visited with the bishop on more than one occasion over the last couple of months, the first thing I said was, well, Bishop, according to our bylaws, the senior warden and the junior warden make the selections for the search committee, which is enough pressure right there on its own. And he said, that's correct. And he said, you can do certain things and certain things you can't do. And I said, I probably assumed that was going to be the case. But one thing you did mention, that's why I wanted to be here this morning before I introduce our chairs, is that there is a near canonical, if not canonical, rule that says a member of the vestry cannot serve on a search committee for a new rector, nor can a spouse of a member of the vestry. And I said, well, Bishop, you and I are going to have a little go around because I had asked Martin Proctor to be chair and Lori Messer to be vice chair. And Lori's husband, Jim, as you all know, is a member of the vestry. And he said, you have one chit in this process. You want to play it now? And I said, yes, sir. So we have Lori Messer as our vice chair and Martin Proctor as our chair of the search committee. And they're going to go through this process for you. It's not nearly as difficult as it sounds. It's a little scary for the four of us, along with our junior warden, Lynn Solomon, but we're here for the pressure.
And we are grateful for your leadership. Both Martin and Lori have been senior wardens right there in your chair.
Absolutely.
In different phases. They didn't have to do a search though, so they still got to be a part of the process.
That's right.
So we're thankful for all of you, also for your yeses, Martin and Lori. And Doug, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Mother
through
Abby.
these times.
Martin, if you and Lori come up and we'll get going.
We'll get out of the way.
May I say something? Martin doesn't even know I want to talk, but it's one of those things I feel like I should say. And that's this. I don't say yes to everything that I'm asked to do. Abby, you know that. But I do believe that this search for a rector is something that is not my sole job or Martin's job, that I think God has chosen our rector, and he's out there, and it's our job to find out who he is. Or she, I'm sorry, or she, sorry. He or she, I usually say he or she.
But not me.
But not Abby. But this is one of those things I feel very much at peace about, not because who I am, but because I feel that some experiences that I've had at church have changed me, and I feel at peace with it. So I hope that you all feel at peace with it as well. That's all I have to say. Now I'll be quiet the rest of the time and let Martin do it.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you all for being here. And thank you all for the confidence that you've placed in Laurie and in me to lead this search. And we plan to do it with all of your involvement. At the outset, I'll say we'll go through the phases, but the first phase is us learning what this process is. And we're about a day or two ahead of all of you on learning what the process is. But we're in the phase of nominations coming in for the committee and selecting the committee. And the committee, we want to reflect our beloved parish. We have a wonderful, diverse parish, and we want a committee that reflects who we are. That's our goal on choosing our committee. I was listening to Abby this morning, and she was talking about one's the lonely number, but also the wonder and the power of many becoming one. And that's what we will hope for with this committee, that we will have a cross-section of people, but we will become one, being led by God to the person that is the right person to lead St. John's, leading us to that person and leading that person to us. So thank you all for your confidence. We will do our best. We do need your help. We need your input. But maybe we'll start off showing you the webpage that, among other things, gives people an opportunity to nominate themselves or someone else to be on the committee. Laurie, do you want to talk about the webpage?
Sure. So this is also a good opportunity for people to become acquainted with the webpage. So you see here, there's a very easy way to get to Rector search. But if you ever wanted to, you could also go to up at where it says about, there's a find Rector search area, news and events up at the top. You can also find the latest updates, which will include any news about the Rector search. But for brevity and ease, we are going to go to the Rector search right there. You just click on it. So you'll notice there's an introduction there that talks about the Rector search. And within that introduction, there are hyperlinks. A hyperlink, if you click on it, it's going to take you to somewhere that has up at the top those blue areas. So for sake of time, we're not going to click on the hyperlinks. You can also find the latest news, and there's a feedback form throughout all of this. You'll also find the latest news and feedback at the top of that. Down near the bottom under latest news, you'll see the nomination form. So if we can click on, it says nominations open for search committee. And if you click on that, you will see the form for the nominations. Do you want me to continue or do you want?
I'll jump in.
Okay.
The nomination form is really very simple, and it does come straight to Laurie and to me. It does not require a lot of information or a lot of time. It does, I believe, give you a chance to review the qualifications to be on the search committee. Are they on there? I can't see. They're the qualifications. I won't go through them, but you'll see that there are probably 7 or 8 bullets. And that tells you what's required to be a member of the committee. They're straightforward, but again, if anyone ever has any questions or comments, there is the section there where you can send an email that will come straight to Laurie and to me. It's pretty simple. And then the nominations close this Friday. Doug Sessions and Lynn Solomon, with input from Laurie and me, will very quickly put together a committee. The intention is for there to be 9 members of the parish and Laurie and me. That will be completed pretty quickly after nominations close on Friday.
All right. So I also wanted to mention too, we don't know the exact time commitment the nomination committee will have, but we have talked to another parish that has just gone through this. So it's a commitment of time. You got to be serious about this. The last parish that we talked had 1 meeting once a week, and it was 2 hours per week. So if you really, this is one of those things that I think perhaps you ask if this is what you're called to do. And I think a lot of times you'll hear that whisper. the things we've done and left undone. So just know that this is a serious time commitment, that you're going to do it. So the next thing up at the top, we have the Rector Search Committee. So once the committee has been chosen, you'll be able to find, right now it's just Martin and I. There's old Martin. There he is, and there I am. That will have pictures and names, and like I said, we're about a day ahead of y'all. There may be a brief bio as to what they've done in the church. We don't know that right yet because we're a day ahead.
But you'll see who your representatives are. You'll know
Yes.
who they are. You'll know.
And you can pray for them
Absolutely, you can pray for them.
by name.
Yes. All right.
After the committee has been selected, there will be a survey of the entire congregation. There's a company called Holy Cow, and they specialize in this. They've done them. They've already invented the wheel. It will be an online survey. We will work hard to get everyone to take the survey and complete it. The more people we have, and that survey tells us, from our opinions, what are we? Where are we? Where do we want to go? What are we looking for in our new rector? What do we want her or him to bring to us and do for us? The parish that we have just talked to, that's just gone through this, said they learned a lot about themselves as a parish from the survey. The company does compile the results. They help us interpret the results. And that survey will then be used to create a parish profile. That profile, you might call it the job description or the job announcement. It tells people who are applying how we see ourselves. And again, where do we want to go? What are we looking for? It is a job description, and it will be posted on the Episcopal Church's, I can't remember the name of the,
OTM, Office of General Ministry.
it will be posted there for the world to see, for clergy to see. And they can look at that to learn about St. John's. If any of you have someone that you think is a wonderful prospect, have him or her go to that, because that is where the applications to be our rector are made. They're compiled. They are then sent to us. They are confidential. It will all be held in confidence. That is something that we will not be able to share, is the details of the applicants. And I hope you'll be understanding of that. But long practice has shown that that's the best way to approach that. Particularly, I guess, for the benefit of those who want to apply. But we'll get the survey done. Holy Cow will conduct the survey. We will have a lot of communication with you, asking you, please take the survey. Please get it done. Don't wait until the last day. Get it in. And then the profile will be created, and then it will be published. And then the applications will come flowing in, presumably. And as we've said all along, this is not the committee. Yes, the committee will parse the applications, but we think that God is leading that person to us, and we're going to work hard for God to lead the committee to that person. What's next, Laurie?
Well, you'll see up at the top, updates, feedback. You've already kind of seen that. If you clicked on that, you'd see the updates, the latest news. If you clicked on feedback, you'd see the form that you're looking at. Now, I did want to draw attention to one thing about the form. At the very bottom of the form, Claire, if you scroll down, you'll see a prayer. And I want to emphasize this part of it because it really is important. You have a search committee, and you have a chair and a vice chair. And yes, we do the legwork, but it's really the entire church needs to pray for all of us. I think God has plans for this church. We've seen it. This transition is not a time of sadness. It's an opportunity for us to listen to each other and to the guidance of God to tell us, who do you have next? Because we've had a lot of rectors at this church long before any of us were born. We'll have more after we're gone, but the church stays. So anyway, I wanted to draw attention to that. And then I think the timeline is what y'all would like to see. Martin's kind of gone over pretty much what the process is. So up at the top, Claire, yeah. There's 2 graphics. Mandy Schnittker, by the way, I just want you to know she is just awesome. Andy, if you're watching this, you are awesome.
As are Claire and Rodrigo.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
Claire and
those three.
Rodrigo. The staff in general is awesome. There's a lot of work that goes into this that I'm not aware of until I see it happening. But anyway, the graphic at the top just gives you kind of an overview of the process. If you go down and click, there's, Mandy calls them accordions. You can click on them and you can see that this phase, the getting started phase, we've pretty much already gotten started. You've got a chair and a vice chair and the vestry, and the bishop has all approved that. We're getting nominations for the search committee. We're getting that portion off the ground. So that's going to last until August. We'll get everything in key till August. And then the next phase is, I can't read, I can't have it memorized. This is self-study. And before we know who God has chosen for us, I think it's good for us to know who we are. You know, we have an idea of who we are. But I'll tell you, one of the reasons why I felt called to be on this is because I was on that Renewal Works Committee, and so was Martin. And it helps to see, you may think you know exactly what you think and where you're going, but it helps to see other people's voices. And I think that'll help in the rector search. So we'll have that parish profile. I don't think, speaking of Renewal Works, I don't think it's going to be, for lack of a better word, as onerous as the Renewal Works survey was to complete. But it's very, if you care about St. John's, you will do that parish survey because that's going to help us. So the parish survey. And then, as Martin said, Holy Cow will compile the survey results, kind of give us an overview of the things that are important to our church, where we can grow. Martin, am I talking too much? Because I don't know. He's the. And then seeking. The next phase is seeking. Once we know what we want, then we can seek the person out there. And so that parish profile is going to be kind of like a job description. Here's what our church wants. And I want us to remember this as we go seeking. Yes, there are many, I know, men and women out there that would be wonderful, but we're wonderful too. St. John's is a very vibrant church, beautiful, located in a wonderful city. So we will be seeking a priest, and I have a feeling priests will be seeking us as well. So we'll put it out there. And then our hope is that once we start seeking, they'll find us.
And then we'll go to discernment. And going back to something Laurie said earlier, we're looking forward to working with the 9 parishioners who are going to serve on this committee with us. It will be hard work. It will be time consuming. There's no doubt about that. We knew that going in, and we learned, and it was reinforced by our conversations with the parish in Fernandina that just selected a new rector. But I think that our committee, I think it's going to be fascinating. And I think the discernment will be, it'll be interesting. I think it'll be rewarding for the committee members. It'll be one of the most important things that they can do for St. John's. It'll be hard work. We'll be watching applicants online. Nowadays, you don't necessarily have to travel the way as much as you used to, because so many churches now are online, and we can watch the people preach. There may or may not be visits to churches, But the discernment will be time consuming for the committee, but I know it's going to be rewarding for the committee because they'll know how important what they're doing is. And then finally, that's phase 4. Phase 5 is the call. The committee will narrow down the choices we have and will select the woman or the man that the committee believes to be the person that is intended to lead our church forward. Then the vestry is in charge. The committee will submit a name or names to the vestry, but it's the vestry's decision. And Doug and Lynn, y'all jump in if there's anything that you need to add or that I'm incorrect on. But the vestry will make the decision. They'll make it based on what the committee presents to them. So as important as I've said the committee is, the vestry is the final decision maker along with the bishop. The bishop does approve what the vestry decides. The hope is, and it's very fluid, the hope is if we would like to have it by June. Am I right there? We would like to have a candidate, the right person, by June. In most cases, what we've learned is candidates they wouldn't start in June. They've got things to complete. They may have family that has to finish school. We don't know, but June would not be a start date, but June hopefully would be the date by which we have a name that the vestry has approved and that the bishop has approved. Don't hold us to that. It is fluid. There can be missteps, there can be startovers, but that's an aspiration.
And that's really, as far as the website goes, there'll be updates when you see latest news. There'll be things in the chimes. What Martin and I know I speak for Martin when I say we want to be as transparent with you about the process as we possibly can. Confidentiality will have to be held with respect to the candidates themselves. But as far as the process goes, we want to be absolutely transparent with you. So there, you got forms that you can send us. You'll have our,
You know us, you
yeah,
see us.
we're in the directory. I know our phone and all that fun stuff. But anyway, you do have forms. But we just want to be accessible and transparent with you through this process. So that's pretty much. If questions, yeah. Yes, right.
You mentioned some people may be traveling or hosting candidates. I wasn't sure.
Well, in
what that was.
the past, as the list was narrowed down, I know that, and I've never served on a search committee. I don't think any of us have served on a search committee. There was, people did travel to a parish anonymously to hear a candidate speak. Well, nowadays we can do a lot of that online. We can watch the services online. But so there may or may not be.
But just to add to that, Martin, Rodney, once we have winnowed down that list, we may invite priests from other churches to come in and preach in our church.
Right.
So we have that opportunity as well.
Right.
I know them.
Oh, sorry, we have a quick question from the chat. Somebody asked about the survey. Will the survey have space for narrative comments?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Lynn, Doug, do y'all know?
I'm not sure, but I think a lot of the survey is narrative. I think it's a free form kind of thing. It's not like pick 1, 2, or 3. So there's opportunities for everybody to say what, and please, with the search committee, call them anytime. Let them know what's on your mind.
And the feedback form is always a great tool that you can use too.
Rodrigo, could the people online hear Doug when he gave that answer?
I don't know.
If you couldn't hear.
Paraphrasing
Yes.
Doug, he believes that there is,
They can't. There's a
Okay,
Oh,
good.
okay, all right, never mind.
Bob's got a question back here.
Will the survey be available to people who do not have access to a computer?
Yes,
What is the process that they,
It'll be available in the church office, just like anything else.
yes, sir.
Will the bishop be submitting names?
No, the names all come from those who apply.
So he can, the bishop can encourage people
Yes.
to apply.
Okay. Okay, so he does it under the radar.
Well, they apply through the same process that everybody else there, Jim, who's a priest.
Yes, all the applicants do have to go to that application.
Yeah, I'll go to the same portal.
Yes,
Yes.
same portal. Thank you.
Peggy's got a question up there. Roger, you want to read it?
So, yeah, how are the search committee nominations proceeding so far? Approximately how many to date?
I
They're
believe.
they're 23, the
Okay.
last time I checked, which was a couple of days ago. So
what was the answer?
23.
Oh.
And that there may be more by now.
Friday
Because
then?
it's open through Friday.
Mhm.
We've got wonderful applicants, but there are a lot more wonderful
And
applicants
there's no
that,
reason why everybody in this room shouldn't submit an application.
Except for Jim Messer.
And
You're the
he's
one
not-
chip.
And
Or
Susan
Susan.
Proctor.
I have a question about, several questions, but I'll do the first one about the participation on the search committee. So Laurie is the one chip from the bishop that vestry or spouses of vestry members cannot serve. Are there also, I seem to recall, limitations on, I'm gonna use Sweet Rob as the example, are spouses of staff and clergy not permitted to serve as?
they are not permitted,
Okay.
staff
So
and clergy
anybody
and
can serve
spouses.
staff. Okay.
Correct.
Then, sort of related to that, we will be having vestry elections halfway through this process.
They can't run the vestry if they're on the search.
Right, and we're keeping that in mind, Pam, as we,
I
that
think that's
yeah.
important
We,
to clarify. So-
Lynn is on the nomination committee for vestry, and she has represented the nomination committee very well on our meetings.
The-
Right.
Yeah,
But so at that point, say for example, Joe Smith is appointed to the search committee. Joe Smith's spouse would not be allowed
That is
to run for vestry for
This
next
coming-
year.
That's
correct.
correct.
Okay.
Hey, let me just add something.
Yes.
The search committee has put off, excuse me, the nomination committee
Nominations. will
has
start.
put off their action until all the applications are in. And I'm gonna ask our junior warden if she wouldn't put it off until the search committee has been named. So that's gonna
the
eliminate
plan.
a lot of those
That's the
problems.
plan.
That's what we're gonna do. There's one more, but, well, I will say, the almost simultaneous timelines of a cardinal parish of the diocese searching for a rector while we are also in a search for a bishop coadjutor is potentially, but prayerfully, not going to be as much of a challenge as it might in other whatevers. And I hope that people will give you all grace if there presents an occasion where a bishop is being elected in June, was my understanding that might be the timeline as well, that if St. John needs to step back and say, okay, let's get a bishop first and then see where we go, that Abby will take good care of us during those, what might be months. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
That's a good point, Pam, and you're right about Abby. But I can tell you, if we don't have anybody by June, I may move to Afghanistan.
You have to stay put.
All be well. All will be well. We'll get through it.
Are there any more questions?
This is
Yes.
just more of a specific question. So you talked to, I'm guessing St. Peter's, Bernardina, about their experience and that they had said they met weekly for 2 hours at a time, do you see that those type of meetings, obviously our process may be different and we may need to adapt and be adaptable through that process. Do you see that happening every week from the moment it's announced to June, or?
I think we should plan on that being possible.
Okay.
We'll figure it out as we go along, but I think we should, anyone that wants to serve on the committee should be ready for that, if that's what we see as the right way to do it. They had planned not to meet weekly. We had a very interesting conversation with the chair of their committee, who we were told was the gold standard of chairs. And
you.
That's right.
And they quickly, or over time, they realized we do need these weekly meetings. They had not anticipated that, but that's where they went. And they again, it's a commitment, but I think it's a commitment that will be very rewarding.
And Sarah Michael, I will say, add one thing to what Martin was saying. They started their search process though in December.
Okay.
With, and when you think practically, if we got a rector, which I'm not saying he or she is but if they have a family, probably the summer is a good transition time if you have a family. So they were kind of on a different, we've got a longer time period, I think.
Right.
Even if we found God's calling, I don't know if he or she could say, I can leave right now, because it may be like a Father Day with 4 kids in school. We just don't know at this point. But I would, if I signed up for this committee, I would say in my head, it's possible. It could be 2 hours a week for a long time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mary Bird just mentioned in the chat, the Adult Education Commission will schedule regular updates from our search committee and chairs within the year. So this is not your only opportunity to hear,
Right.
for better or for worse. You will get updates as we go. Along with Mandy will keep us very much updated through each Wednesday center.
We will do our best to communicate with you regularly and thoroughly. And like Laurie said, we want to be as transparent as it can be. And we don't want folks to feel like what's going on. We hope we'll keep you well apprised of what's going on.
Is there a list of the people who have already been nominated somewhere, so we could check to make sure that we didn't nominate somebody that's already been
You
nominated?
can
or
just
do you-
double
It's
check.
just
You
double
could-
check?
yeah,
Or is it
that's-
okay
yeah,
if we not
yeah.
have them? Okay.
Does Dennis have a question?
Did Dennis have a question or just hop on? Dennis, you're being highlighted.
Well,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, I know this is not a good seat. Will there be an opportunity to give feedback to the committee once it's been congealed? Or do we have to make sure our feedback gets involved with the study that's being done?
Well, absolutely. You can give feedback through that, what we showed earlier on the website, where you can submit questions or comments, and they will come to us. And then again, you know us, we're around, you see us. So I'm confident we will get feedback through the course of this process.
So you can add to your list or deduct from your list. It doesn't have to be in that initial study that's compiled from the survey.
No, but the importance of that survey is that survey will be used to create the parish profile, which is the job description. It tells the world out there what we think we are and what we're looking for.
So if you have ideas that you would like to have incorporated into the new crease, you need to answer that survey and.
Yes.
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 Okay.
But Martha, let me just add one thing. If I told my wife I wasn't gonna let anybody talk to me about this, she'd leave me.
Yeah.
So if you need to call somebody, pick up the phone, call them. Don't worry about that.
Right.
Right. Thank you.
One more question in the chat from Dennis. Will the primary method to view the parish profile be online rather than mailing a printed version to all the parish?
So I guess the job description, will the parish get a paper copy of that, or shall we just?
It'll be electronic PDF, which you can then print and share in paper form or electronically, either or, but it will be a link to a document that's easily accessible and acceptable.
And again, I think if you didn't have access to a computer, just like the survey itself, you could get a copy at the church. I mean, if you want it, you would get it.
He said, thank you.
You're welcome, Dennis.
I can read that one.
We truly are a couple of days ahead of you in knowing what this is and how this process works.
You've got great resources guiding you along.
And so we will look to you for input.
I'll add one more thing, Mark. We do have complete and unhindered access to the canon to the ordinary. Allison DeFore, who you all know, who has given a presentation in this room before on what this process is. And he has been, he was coming out of the doctor's office Friday. We called him at 4 o'clock and he answered every question we had. So we've got carte blanche there, and Bishop has assigned him to St. John's to do his deal.
I have another one comment. During our meetings, we did commit to making sure that anybody who wants a survey, if paper or whatever, will get a survey. If we have to use our shepherds or however, there's many ways we can do that, but our goal is that nobody will go surveyless that wants one.
And we're hoping everybody wants one.
Mhm.
There was some talk about getting a search consultant. Is that going to happen?
No, we decided against that. In some respects, Allison DeFore may be our search consultant. We also have unfettered access to St. Peter's Fernandina, their experience, what they did, the forms they used. So no, we are not using a consultant. Any more online? Well, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate all your hard work and the continued work that the parish will do.
Thank you.
Next week, Deacon Joe will be teaching about the parables right here.
He can't.